beyond midnight. The family with murder in their DNA. Kansas City, Missouri, late August 2004. To the outside world, the city was transitioning from the suffocating heat of summer into early autumn. But along a specific stretch of the Prospect Avenue in Kansas City, an invisible, suffocating darkness was spreading over. Prospect Avenue was a place of stark contrasts, vibrant community neighborhoods overlapping with abandoned properties, street-level vices, and individuals living on the very margins of society. It was an ecosystem where people could slip through the cracks unnoticed. On the morning of September 2nd, 2004, a resident living near 26th and Montgall noticed a heavy and unmistakable odor drifting from a nearby abandoned garage. It was a scent that anyone living in a major metropolitan area fears. The police were called, and when patrol officers breached the weathered wooden doors of the structure, their flashlights revealed a horrific scene. Tucked away in the debris were the bodies of two women. They were identified as Patricia Wilson Butler and Shelia McKenzie. Both had been strangled. Both had been discarded in a place time forgot. The Kansas City Police Department Homicide Unit arrived at the scene, but they weren't alone. Walking step for step with the detectives was a television camera crew from A&E's hit reality show, The First 48. The premise of the show was simple. If detectives don't get a lead within the first 48 hours, the chances of solving the case drop significantly. The pressure on the investigators was already immense. The cameras captured every bit of sweat, every frustrated sigh, and every piece of the crime scene. The neighborhood was beginning to panic. Rumors flew across the street corners. Was there a monster hunting the women of Prospect Avenue? What the detectives, the camera crew, and the citizens didn't know was that the 48-hour clock wasn't just ticking for the police. The killer was watching the news and the investigation, and he was about to insert himself directly into the narrative. Late on the night of September 3rd, a chilling call hit the KCPD dispatch center. The voice on the other end was eerie, completely devoid of panic, entirely deliberate. The caller claimed responsibility for the two women found earlier, but then dropped another shocking statement. He told the dispatcher that they had missed one more victim and gave them exact coordinates to look under the brush in an alleyway off 24th and Prospect. Detectives rushed to the coordinates provided by the anonymous caller on the phone. They cut through the dense, overgrown brush in an alleyway just blocks from the first crime scene. And there she was, the body of Carmen Hunt, strangled just like the others. The anonymous caller hadn't been a prankster. He was the executioner. The city was now in a state of absolute emergency. The police realized they weren't dealing with an isolated case. They were dealing with an active serial killer. But the nightmare escalated further the very next day. On September 4th, the phone rang again. The same voice reached back out to dispatch, directing police to check a highway embankment right near the East Patrol Division, stating that two more individuals were waiting out there. He promised that he would call again. Detectives scrambled to the highway brush. True to the caller's word, they uncovered the bodies of Darcy Williams and Claudette Juniel. 5 women were now found dead. The killer's methodology was clear. He targeted vulnerable women, primarily those involved in street-level sex work or struggling with substance abuse, viewing them as disposable. After that, the investigation suffered a devastating blow. A local news station, desperate for a scoop, leaked a critical piece of operational intelligence. They broadcasted that the police knew that the killer was using a cell phone to make the 911 calls. The killer heard the news. The calls stopped completely. The hunter had gone back into the deep shadows. With the phone lines silent, the investigation shifted to forensic science, investigators began combing through local parole records for violent offenders living within a tight radius of the crime scenes. One name immediately stood out: Terry Blair. Investigators were looking for a local parolee who matched a terrifying pattern, and Terry Blair perfectly fit the description given by multiple local women who had recently survived brutal assaults on the avenue. Terry Blair was a 42-year-old man who lived right in the heart of the Prospect Corridor. But as detectives dug into his file, their blood ran cold. Terry Blair had already taken a life before. In 1982, he had been sentenced to 25 years in prison for the brutal murder of a woman named Angela Monroe. Angela was the mother of his 2 children and had also been pregnant at the time. His motive? He claimed he flew into a rage because she was working as a prostitute. Blair had served 21 years of that sentence before being released back onto the streets on parole. He had walked right back into the same neighborhood with the same deep-seated animosity toward the women who worked the avenue. But to truly understand the horror of Terry Blair, you cannot just look at the man. You have to look at his bloodline. Because Terry Blair belonged to a family tree that stands as one of the most uniquely violent genealogies in American criminal history. Let us look at the House of Blair. First, the matriarch, Terry's mother, Janice Blair. In 1978, she was arrested, convicted, and sentenced to prison for the shooting death of a man in Kansas City. Next, Terry's brother, Walter Blair Jr. In 1979, Walter allegedly killed 16-year-old Sandy Shannon during a robbery. He also took a contract to eliminate a key witness in an upcoming trial, a young honors art student named Sandra Jo Thompson. Walter abducted her from her home and took her life. In 1993, the state of Missouri executed Walter Blair Jr. by lethal injection. Then came Terry's sister, Warnetta Blair. In 1990, she entered a guilty plea to second-degree murder after a domestic dispute ended with her taking the life of her boyfriend. Next, Terry's half-brother, Clifford Miller. In 1994, Clifford was handed down a sentence of multiple life terms for a terrifying case of abduction, torture, and SA of a woman in the exact same neighborhood. Criminologists have spent decades debating nature versus nurture. But within the Blair family, the two forces seem to merge into a singular, devastating reality. Terry Blair didn't just stumble into a life of serial violence. He was raised in an environment where murder was a genetic currency. By September 8th, Terry Blair was the prime suspect. But locating him in a community where he knew every alleyway and hiding spot was difficult. He was using a deactivated cell phone, a device with no active SIM card. Because it had no account attached to it, the phone could only be used to dial 911, making traditional, real-time GPS tracking a massive hurdle for investigators. Instead, detectives leaned heavily on cell tower data. Every time the killer called to taunt dispatch, the emergency signal was forced to ping off the nearest local tower. When analysts mapped out those pings, they didn't pinpoint a moving ghost. They found a static radius. Every single call was originating from the exact neighborhood where Terry Blair lived, walked, and operated. Blair was initially arrested on a parole violation charge, having failed to stay in contact with a probation officer, and was later charged with the homicides. On March 27, 2008, after reviewing a mountain of forensic DNA evidence and the matching audio profiles of the 911 calls, Terry Blair was found guilty on 6 counts of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to 6 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. Throughout the entire process, and for the next 16 years of his confinement, Blair maintained an icy silence. He never confessed. He never expressed remorse. he never revealed if there were other women buried in the forgotten corners of Kansas City. The story of the Prospect Corridor Killer finally reached its absolute end on May 11, 2024. Correctional officers at the Potosi Correctional Center found the 62-year-old Blair unresponsive in his maximum security cell. He was pronounced dead shortly after, taking the final dark secrets of the House of Blair with him into the dirt. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you want to help keep these stories alive, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. It truly helps. If there's a true crime case, unsolved mystery, or any other unexplained event that deserves more attention, feel free to send an email or leave a comment down below.